way, I tend to stay clear of calling something the worst film ever made. That is, until a movie like Las Vegas Bloodbath comes my way, but to be fair, I didn't call it the worst movie ever. I just simply said it was the worst shot-on-shitio movie ever. Which is akin to saying being burned alive is the worst way to die. After giving Las Vegas Bloodbath that pristine honor that makes Chester Novel Turner smile in his grave, I began receiving several emails telling me that while Las Vegas Bloodbath may be bad, there is one that's even worse. Here's a sample email.
Dear Cinema Snob, there is a movie out there that makes Las Vegas Bloodbath look like leaving Las Vegas, and that movie is Axum. I should know. I'm currently serving a life sentence for murdering my entire family on movie night where we watched this film. I don't know how it happened, but when I woke up from a blackout, my family's throats were slit and I had plucked my eyes out. We all go a little crazy sometimes. Sincerely, Blind and Rikers.
Charming story, but as I found out, Axum was released in 2002, and my cutoff point is 1995. I don't have to watch Axum, so I'm gonna go do other stuff now, like check my mailbox.
Dearest Snob, Blind and Rikers again. I thought you might use the "it was released in 2002" excuse. That's why it pains me to say the movie was actually made in 1992, making it perfectly eligible for review. I wish you the best.
Oh man! Oh god! Oh man! Oh god! Oh man! Alright, so we're really gonna watch Axum. Well, let me get one thing straight. If you're gonna release your movie 10 years after it was made, make sure it was made after 1995, because I don't want to watch your petrified shit! Axum opens with a few title cards explaining the backstory. Alright, let's see here. On a cold winter night in 1990, Mr. Mason, a mean and cruel Okay. When the police arrived, they only found the bodies of his wife, daughter, and damn it! Legend has it he will return in 13 years. Oh, what the You couldn't even give me enough time to read a 2-line title card? Axum appears to open during the auditions for Nigerian Titanic, and it takes me 3 minutes into this scene before I realize that this couple in the middle is supposed to be our main characters. Why does it take me that long? Because the sound of all the background characters is at the same audio level as their dialogue. That's really special when the extras have more important shit to say than the main characters. Well, if it wasn't evident that this movie was made in the early 90s, then this opening credit sequence should seal the deal.
Why is it got to be so damn tough?
Ugh, I'm bored of this music already. Let's put on something a little more appropriate. I also like this alternate title card placed over the original title. Also, apostrophe EM is not a word. The real title should be Axe Them. The opening credits are played over a sequence of street DJs telling jokes.
In McKelvin Center, featuring DJ Double Cut Master, slice 'em up, dice 'em up.
They say that if you want to make your name sound less dignified, just add the word DJ in front of it. But I guess it works if your Christian name is already Double Cut Master, Slice 'em Up, Dice 'em Up. If it weren't evident that this movie was made in the early 90s, then the first 5 minutes alone would have you clamoring for a Crystal Pepsi and a Sega CD. First of all, this cast has obviously stolen their wardrobe from the cast of Living Single, and not only do we get a reference here to the Persian Gulf War, but also to MC Hammer. Yeah, because the MC Hammer Corporation worked great for the Addams Family movie. I'm sure it won't curse Axum in the least. If this movie were any more 90s, the dialogue would be nothing but your mama jokes.
That's why your mama's so fat every time she turn around she get lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that a 10-minute chunk of this movie is nothing but your mama jokes.
Your mama's so fat, she jumped in the air and got stuck. Ah!
God, it's like I'm watching In Living Color, the final years.
Your mama's so dumb, she studied all night for a blood test.
Your mama's so stupid, her son made Axum. So as we learn here from 90s Spike Lee and Halle Berry, a group of friends are getting together at a cabin in the woods. Or so I think. Most of the dialogue in the movie is spoken with all of the other characters speaking over them. And the first 13 minutes of the movie are mostly just the blazing, forsaken rap soundtrack.
If you cross the line, I'm a cock and sweet. What you make is one, what you hold me.
I'm of the opinion that rap has the power to ruin something as great as Casablanca. So what do you think it does to Axum? Now that the music is over with, we can finally focus in on our characters. Wait, who the hell are these two? They're just a couple of drunk guys fighting. I'm assuming on who gets to be the Fresh Prince's sidekick and who gets to be Martin's sidekick.
You go kick his ass and give me some of that. You better back up, you big 6'9" motherfucker.
Gentlemen, please. You're both DJ Jazzy Jeff in my eyes. Even when the movie gets to our characters, it's like it doesn't even care what they have to say. One girl confides in the other that her boyfriend may be cheating on her, while Waldo from Family Matters yells at them in the background. But then the scene just cuts, just goes away in mid-conversation. It's like the movie is sparing me the exercise of fast-forwarding it myself. And it doesn't even cut to anything better. The next 5 minutes is the cast sitting around the table, talking over each other about shit that I'm pretty sure isn't scripted. Then this hits up and tells the world's longest joke in a movie.
Alright, this is a joke of Johnny Green. Alright, Johnny Green is a little kid in school, real bad. So boom, she said, hey. She looked at Johnny Green. He said, call me Bob. She said, very good, Steve. So they got to C. Good, Andrew. So they kept going. They got all the way to F. So nobody's saying what I said. She said, very good, Johnny. What's the word? I don't give a shit how this joke ends. I'm just going to assume the punchline is the aristocrats.
Well, the jokes seem to go over fine because everyone there starts laughing. I take that back. It looks like the only thing not to find it funny was the cut! Oh, thank God, the soundtrack is back. Good lord, it's like hearing nails on a chalkboard over a baby crying during a fire alarm. The characters sit around and bitch about their sex lives, or on the flip side, brag about their sex lives.
If y'all really want to know, he tore it up.
Yeah, he tore that up! Is that why you're not sitting down? At least this opening act does not involve playing cards, eating pizza, or hot oil wrestling. It's sad that that has become my standard. Even still, the non-linear conversations go on so long that the movie actually takes time out for a bathroom break.
Oh, yeah.
Huh. I've never seen an actor literally piss away his career. I like this guy, though, who has become so disinterested in the movie, he's found better 90s things to be doing. Oh yeah, I'll get back to Axum in a minute. Okay, Bugs Bunny, show me how crazy this castle really is. There's a flashback that I assume is supposed to tell us the backstory of the movie, since, you know, the text sure as hell failed at that. Some guy pulls a shotgun out on his family, and here we can see him killing his wife's imaginary friend, but the bullet luckily curves and hits her too. Then he proceeds to shoot his children's pillows, which is always a bummer. It's near impossible to sleep without pillows. And then the man shoots himself. I believe there's a second here where it looks like the guy changes his mind, but the gun goes off anyway. I don't know what that scene had to do with anything. Yes, this movie is about a zombie who returns to kill off the campers one by one, but this is not the guy from the flashback. I don't know who this guy is, or who this zombie is supposed to be. I can buy that a random zombie just rose to kill off these kids and their damn rap music, but why this flashback with characters who have nothing to do with the movie? And the main characters don't even attempt to investigate the zombie, they just stand around hurling insults at each other.
I always got to investigate. Fuck that. What are you supposed to be, Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, that's right. He's Inspector Gadget. Except if he were Inspector Gadget, you'd be the one solving everything. Once the zombie shows up, most of the movie is just characters frantically running around, yelling at each other, and spouting off more 90s lines.
Oh, okay?
Nikki, help me!
For what? What's going on?
I'm falling down and I can't get up.
I've fallen and I can't get up? You're bringing that classic back? Oh, don't stop there. I'm sure you got more topical greats to bring out.
Well, the thing that was for me or for him? Shit. Homie, don't play that game. Shit.
Oh, of course there's a Homie the Clown reference. Well, to put it in words that Homie would approve of, dignity is the opposite of acting in this movie. And every time it shows a character dying, it's always the same Halloween Spencer Gifts prop effect with the machete obviously cutting into their skin. And if they can't use that effect, then the movie just doesn't show what happens to the character. The hell was that? It didn't show what happened to him, so I'm just going to assume he was zanied to death. I think I actually missed the scenes that just had characters running around screaming. Either they're running from the killer, or I'm missing the second invasion of Molossia. The edits in this movie also aren't worth a shit, like how it's so in love with some of its lines that it actually repeats them twice. Yes, a movie that is full of such shit that it had to say the word twice. Also, there's this shitty in-camera effect they use sometimes in the danger scenes. Yeah, teleportation isn't such a great thing when it just transports you to the same spot. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the zombie actually had the teleportation power, because this movie is so chopped up that one scene he's in the woods, and then the next he's at the house. And what the he's in the Candyman projects all of a sudden? Oh, now where did he get that? You're breaking the rules, movie. When you make a horror film, your killer either gets guns or machetes. He cannot have both. It's against the law. Can you imagine if Jason Voorhees just pulled out a .45 anytime he wanted to? Eventually, some of the characters find a car, but it doesn't make any difference because they still just stand around giving each other shit.
Oh my God, no you did not just smell me out here in these woods. I don't believe that. No you did not just smell me in these woods. Excuse me. Hello?
The hell? When did this turn into a Men on Film sketch? And that's not the only time this guy changes his voice.
And then the lazy girls, they not doing nothing, making me sick and mad and stuff. And then I got this crazy man chasing me all through the woods with that big old giant knife and stuff.
Oh, so he's Jamaican now? Am I watching Marked for Death all of a sudden? What other voice is he gonna use? Oh, and it better be 90s.
Did I do that?
Even though they have found a car, the next 15 minutes of the movie are just made up of the cast getting really excited over the fact that they found a car.
It's a car. It's a car. It's a car. It's a car! I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Are you sure?
It's a car.
Stop playing around, boy.
What do you mean am I sure? I'm sitting here looking at the car. Oh, shit, you see the car? Yeah, I found the car. We go home. We go get that. We go get...
Leave! And of course they don't leave because that would make for an ending that actually makes sense. Instead, we have this exchange where the zombie tosses a character what looks to be a fortune cookie, or something that might explain what the hell he is, but before we can find that out, he's shot and then stabbed with a pitchfork and killed. Or so I assume. There's a POV shot from the zombie when another zombie shows up to gaze into the camera, and then we see the cast finally leaving, and the original zombie from before returns to leave us with this final shot. That's the end. Okay, well, it is obvious that a lot of cuts were made to this movie. Scenes often end with a fade-in right in the middle of some action or a conversation, and then it'll pick up in what looks to be the second half of a scene that was to take place much later in the movie.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they cut as much of this piece of shit out as they did, but the fact that it's confusing would have been one less thing for me to bitch about.
This is the only directorial film from writer-director-star Michael Mafume? Whatever. This guy would have a last name that starts with the letters MF. He has another credit to his name as second unit director for the documentary short Scarface, Origins of a Hip-Hop Classic.
Yes, leave it to the director of Axum to tell us about how rap music can ruin a movie that doesn't even have rap music in it.
Well, no matter what second unit work this guy does, at least he can rest easily knowing he made the worst Chester Novel Turner movie ever.
As for it being the worst movie ever, is it? Is it worse than Las Vegas Bloodbath? Are all those emails I received correct? Well, I'm not gonna say, because if I did, who knows what would come my way in a couple of weeks. And right now, I am not in the mood to endure something that's worse than Axum.
Oh, shit.